My name's Emma Jones. I am the lighting designer for Plan B for Utopia. I'm also the head of production at Scottish Dance Theatre in Dundee, which is where I met Joan. He was a dancer with the company for a long time, and that's how we came to meet each other, and we started to work together there. I'm also a freelance lighting designer. I have sort of ongoing relationships with Derby Theatre and Sarah Brigham. I've worked with Caroline Bowditch and also Stella Quines recently. I really like to be involved in the creative process sort of as soon as I can be, really. With Joan, because we've worked together a lot, we start talking really early on, start discussing kind of things that he wants, and then maybe I'll, just through discussion, I'll maybe offer something back, and we'll start just talking about it. Then hopefully the R&D work. I certainly did that with Plan B for Utopia. And then once we've got a bit further in with that work and a lot more discussion, I get in to see some of the rehearsals. And I remember seeing a rehearsal or a sharing, I think it was, at Dance Space a few months before we got onto the stage, and that was a real defining moment for me watching the show. The show had really sort of come together, and between the two of us and what we've been talking about, it flipped after that rehearsal, and we suddenly understood what the lighting was going to be for the show. Joan and I are always looking for sort of different sort of lights and units and different things that we can use that aren't necessarily theatrical lighting, lanterns or things that you'd necessarily have as a slick performance. And we're looking for things that we can place in the space to light the work. In Plan B for Utopia, we've got 6 yellow floodlights. These floodlights are bought from a hardware store. They're kind of security lights or lights you'd use in a garage or in a workshop. So they're really integral to the work. We've also got festoons that wrap around the truss on either side of the stage, and they are, for me, they sort of represent the trees that Selene talks about when she's talking about when she's in the forest. Hopefully they add to the aesthetic of the piece, that everything's kind of, it's like a pop-up performance, and the performers have found these lights, and they've just placed them and they're just using them to help tell the story. It's like the disco ball. They bring the disco ball on from the side of the stage and the smoke machine to just sort of reiterate what it is they're doing and help tell the story, even though they're not necessarily what you would pick if you were creating an amazing massive technical piece of theatre. They're very much sort of, the idea is that they're found in the room, a bit like the chairs and the dinosaur in the boxes. I suppose there's always the feeling that if people are aware of the lighting, then maybe you've not done a very good job. There's two sides to this, really, because obviously you want people to notice the job that you've done on the show. You want people to say, wow, the lighting was amazing, or wow, the lighting really helped. But also, sometimes I think there's something to be said for that not to happen, and for the lighting to just occur and to help tell the story, the narrative, or actually just do its practical function, which is just to be able to see what's happening on stage. I'd like to have some kind of middle ground with that, with my work. I'd really, really value it if people do notice the lighting, but only in a way that it actually helps and informs the piece. The most theatrical moment of Plan B for Utopia is when John is singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow, and that is the kind of stereotypical lighting effect that me and Joan wants to go for, with the double spotlight on him. I think that is a moment where I think that the lighting tells the story. The lighting helps you realise that it's as much the lighting designer playing with the perception as it is John and Selene playing with the perception of putting on a theatrical show. One of my favourite moments in the piece, both of the performance and of the lighting, is when Selene tells the story when she's being the little man. And I love the way that we just went to town with that. We just thought, right, she's in a forest, we're going to light it with green, and we're going to pump smoke everywhere. When Selene finally kind of comes out of the forest, we uplight her, because she's telling a little bit of a kind of weird and scary story. And that's definitely one of my favourite lighting moments of the show. So currently we're working on Joan's new piece, which is in sort of a research and development stage at the moment. It's called The North, and we're going to be premiering that next year in Scotland. So we've started working on that. We've got some very outlandish ideas, I would say, about the lighting, so I'm really looking forward to working on that.